In the first module of our next section, multi-platform proposal development, we're going to discuss building a multi-platform package from the ground up.
So as we've discussed in previous modules, we really need to change the culture of traditional local advertising. We need to change that mindset. We're no longer selling just one product. I think many of us realize that, but it shows up in our behavior. Many times we still are selling individual platforms to our clients without even realizing it. So I gave you that trick in a previous module. I want you to think like an advertising agency, a local advertising agency that just happens to own a newspaper, a radio station, or a local directory. And our job now is to identify that core marketing need or goal that our clients, our prospects, our local advertisers have, and then coming up with the right mix of traditional and digital solutions to solve that marketing problem and get them the results that they want.
In this module, we're going to review methods for building a multi-platform package. First, let's diagnose what are local advertisers really buying from us today, and it's different than what we used to sell them. Number two, the structure of a multi-platform package. I'm going to give you some ideas of how to reverse engineer this from where we usually start building and designing our packages. Number three, I'm going to give you a strategy called the Digital Capabilities Matrix, just to help make sense of all those different digital advertising opportunities that you are now selling your clients. And finally, I'm going to go through a little case study, building a multi-platform package for a client, and how we can really use all those different digital advertising opportunities in combination with your traditional advertising. Because that's really the goal here, not just selling digital advertising on its own. First, let's talk about what local advertisers are actually buying from us today.
When you think about it on some level, we really haven't been selling advertising. We've been selling technology to our clients and our prospects. Hold on a second, Stephen. What do you mean we've been selling technology? Because we've been selling platforms. We've been selling television. We've been selling radio advertising, print advertising, directories, what have you. And what our clients really want to buy from us are marketing solutions. And that is what we need to really be getting in the business of selling. We don't want to pigeonhole ourselves into selling individual platforms on their own. And once again, a big part of this module is all about how to sell effective, integrated, traditional and digital advertising marketing solutions.
For decades, local advertisers have been buying exposure from us. And the biggest example of that, the king of all exposure, is advertising during the Super Bowl. But they've been buying exposure from us locally through newspapers, radio, television, local directories. And that is to gain share of voice, branding, all these different terms that we've used over the years to get their name out there. Except, as we now know, because of digital advertising, it's so trackable that getting our client's name out there isn't necessarily the best use of their advertising dollars anymore. We can do a much better job. And when we were selling exposure advertising, or our clients were buying exposure from us, they were buying impressions, whether it was television, radio, or the newspaper. And that is part of our comfort zone. That mindset of selling advertising based on impressions was carried over onto the web, where we were selling pre-roll impressions, especially in television. That is our comfort zone. Where most of us, or all of us, have been selling display ads for the last 20 years. We've been selling that based on impressions. That is part of our comfort zone sales process. And we really need to challenge that. If you haven't guessed that by now, that's what I'm trying to help you do. But today, this is what they're buying from us. And if they don't know that, we need to educate them about that. There's a huge opportunity. They're buying email addresses, social media followers, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, mobile numbers through text messaging, and through conversions like coupons and other special offers. We are helping our local advertisers build marketing databases so they can reach out and follow up with people that aren't necessarily ready to buy immediately. And we are going to use our traditional promotion to build those databases. So here's just an example I really want to dive in of a display ad. The focus of the message, that what I call a digital call to action, is email. This particular hospital wants people, they're trying to build a local walk-in club. And the way to do that, when you join now, you will sign up, give them their email address so they can keep in touch with you about that walk-in club. Another type of result that many of us have been doing for our clients already is really attracting social media followers for our clients through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, what have you. There's so many different new social media platforms popping up all the time, and really picking the one that makes the best sense for our clients' goals or the needs of their particular customers. We're also building those mobile numbers. A lot of us have been doing text-to-win campaigns, blasting out mobile coupons to our audiences. So that is another digital call to action that we should be talking to our clients about. And as I said, another way to express or an example of converting on a particular action as a result of listening to an advertisement is a daily deal. A coupon might be a free giveaway even. I just want to use this visual example now, kind of the sales funnel of what marketing looks like today as we bring a consumer through traditional marketing into digital marketing. And this is how we can really sell an integrated traditional and digital campaign. The top of the sales funnel, that's our widest net, our biggest audience that are reading our newspapers, listening to us on radio, watching us on television. That is all that exposure that our clients are looking for. And the marketing goal generally is branding. And typically, as we just discussed, we sell branding, sell that type of marketing based on impressions, whether it's been broadcast print or those pre-rolls or those display ads online. But where we really want to be funneling all that great promotion down to is getting specific results for our clients. Because you have to remember now, there's a bunch of people, as soon as they hear something on the radio, see something on television, or read it in the newspaper, they are going to be inspired to buy or act on seeing that advertisement within minutes sometimes, hours or days, or within that week. But then there's another bunch of people who like the message of that particular ad, but they're not necessarily ready to buy, or they want more information. So there's an opportunity for us to build a connection between that advertiser and that potential customer. And those are where those results come in, that direct marketing, capturing email addresses, mobile numbers, social media followers, and converting on special offers. I have a challenge for you. Particularly if you are a sales manager, having a goal and understanding what percentage of your audience have you captured. So come up with your monthly total audience, whatever that means to you based on your type of local publication, newspaper, radio, television. What is the size of your traditional audience on a monthly basis? And look at all the email addresses, mobile numbers, social media followers you've captured just for your particular local media organization. And what percentage have you captured? 0? Half? As a quick example, maybe you have an audience of about 100,000 listeners, viewers, or subscribers. So maybe you've captured 10%. So you have 10,000 email addresses, or a mix of 10,000 email addresses, social media followers, and mobile numbers. You might have a goal, a quarterly goal or an annual goal of saying, how can we increase that percentage? How can we remain more connected to our audience beyond our traditional platform, or even beyond when they just happen to come to our websites or our mobile applications? How can we be reaching out to them? All right. The next step in building a multi-platform package is really analyzing the structure of that particular package. So many of the local media reps that I've come to work with over the last dozen years, when they start to write a proposal for a client, even though while they think they are designing that proposal with their client's needs in mind first, generally I find that we end up writing that proposal based on what we know a lot about, and that's ourselves, the capabilities of our local media organization. So generally we'll talk about the demographics of our audience, our audience reach, and all of our different advertising products and capabilities, and how we can really target those demographics and we really can reach out to that audience. But the starting point just isn't you. It's not those demographics. It's not the reach of your audience, and it's not all of your capabilities. The starting point of that proposal is your clients, your prospects measure for success. So a lot of them might say, as you're talking to them the first time, I just want more foot traffic coming to my store. So the digital version, I would say, of foot traffic is email, getting them into the mentality of capturing email addresses every time they're doing traditional advertising. Or a lot of them might judge an advertising campaign based on how often their phone rings, or if they've seen an increase in phone calls coming into their business. Well, we want to educate them now that they might want to think about a digital call to action like mobile, so that way they can be text messaging people as they're out and about running errands. And finally, lots of local businesses out there still relying on referrals or word of mouth. And social media is the digital version of that now. And so we really want to make sure if that is a big part of their business, we want to help them expand into social media so they can amplify that word of mouth. Because I tell you one thing, this is one thing I want you to remind all of your clients. They're spending all this money making that strong investment in your local advertising to get the word out there. But we really need to track that. We need to capture that information so we can make more efficient use of every single advertising dollar. So that way they want to build a longer term relationship with you because you're actually coming up with a longer term sales and marketing funnel for them. So that way they will be generating consistent sales and you're going to help grow their business. Now let's dive into the structure of a multi-platform package. We're going to reverse engineer this thing. Many of us, when we sit down to write a proposal, we often start with traditional advertising. We're going to start with what I call the digital call to action. What's that very specific result that we've narrowed in on for our prospect or client that is going to drive the best results for their marketing goals? Examples of a digital call to action. First, I would call that contacts or building those marketing databases as we've been discussing. Capturing email addresses, capturing mobile phone numbers, or capturing social media followers. You're probably tired of me saying that, but I'm going to bang that into your head. This is what is so crucial in the future of local advertising is using all of our traditional and digital promotion to capture consumer information for our clients, helping them build their own audience and community that they can reach out to. Another example of a digital call to action is conversion, sales conversions, coupon. It could be a free giveaway, registering for something, anything that would more quickly convert into an actual sale rather than just capturing information to begin building a relationship. And finally, is actually directing people to watch content from the advertiser or consume content from the advertiser. It could be a video series, it could be a webinar, it could be a slideshow, various photos. And think of a lot of those advertisers where a big part of their marketing goal is education, like legal, healthcare, home improvement, where they really actually one of their best things that they can do when they have a traditional advertising campaign is direct people to consume more of this information, to really educate them about something that the consumers might have on their mind in terms of a healthcare issue or home improvement issue. And that way they can really get a sense of what it might be like to work with that particular advertiser. Now let's talk about digital promotion. This is the next layer of our multi-platform package. And digital promotion is display ads, pre-roll advertising, in-stream audio ads. And let's face it, most local media organizations, this has been the bulk of where their digital revenue has come from. Selling these forms of digital advertising, selling by impressions alone. Why did we do it? Because it was our comfort zone. We've been so used to selling by impressions alone. It was only natural for local media to go in this direction. And these were the first forms of digital advertising as well. But we really need to move beyond that. We need to start positioning this group of digital advertising opportunities as digital promotion. Still an important opportunity, but it's not the end. A lot of times when we build a package, we take our digital promotion inventory, and we slap it with our traditional advertising opportunities and we say, there is our multi-platform package, but it doesn't really work together. And I also like to remind people that impressions aren't tangible results. I can't tell you how many local media reps, in fact, as I'm updating this training, I just got another message from somebody on LinkedIn about they're having trouble explaining to their clients what is a good ratio of clicks that they should be expecting to receive through the display ad that they purchased on this particular local media organization's website. And I tell you, it's hard. It's a black hole, right? When you sell display ads and somebody clicks on that display ad and maybe 50, 100 people went there, you never captured anything. We don't even know if those are real people. It could be bots or spiders or any number of other shortcuts from a technology perspective that are driving traffic to your website. They're not necessarily really real human beings. And we also can't reach out to them again. Can't email them, can't call them, can't follow with them on social media. So they are a black hole, and we always back ourselves into that corner. I want to help you avoid this. Now, say for example, the digital call to action, and we were selling a campaign with traditional advertising, display ads, and that call to action was capturing email addresses. That's tangible. That's something that a client can really understand. They can see a list of email addresses after that campaign is done. So this is the question I have for you when you're talking to your clients, just to really hammer home the importance of framing and building your multi-platform proposals based on a digital call to action. Do you want to try to explain why 50 clicks was good? Or do you want to explain why 50 emails was good? I want to hand them 50 unique email addresses and saying these are 50 leads, real people that want to buy your product or they want more information about your services. If I'm just sending click-throughs, I have no idea what's happening with them. And even within the messaging of those display ads, if it's digital promotion, we want that call to action to be signing up for something, getting people to give up their email address, because that is the foundation of this proposal. That is what's going to make your prospect or client happy. And finally, the final layer of this package, I told you we were going to reverse engineer this, is our traditional promotion. Television, radio, newspaper, directory. Still, at this time, there's probably nothing that can build a marketing database, capture more email addresses, mobile numbers, social media followers faster than traditional promotion. And that's why it's so critical, and that's something that we have in comparison to standalone internet opportunities, mobile opportunities, that we can really drive a lot of traffic, drive a lot of attention to that specific digital call to action to get our clients some fantastic results. Let's talk about what I call a digital capabilities matrix to help. It's another strategy, another perspective of how to make sense of all those different digital advertising opportunities you're now being asked to sell. So if you haven't done this for yourself already, you might want to make a full and complete inventory of all the different digital advertising capabilities that your local media organization is selling. Once again, I worked with a lot of local media reps, and they are surprised to find out that there's other things that they could have been selling that they weren't aware of, because there's just so many different things. Something might still be available for sale, but maybe a couple reps didn't find a lot of success with it, so it just kind of fell by the wayside. But you might be really excited about it and find a way for it to work. So make a complete list of every digital advertising capability that you have available within your local media organization. Now, here's what you're going to do with that list, because that list can be overwhelming. This is what I actually designed this to help a lot of local media reps make better sense, or to better target a smaller group of all those digital advertising capabilities based on the marketing goals of their prospects. So across the top of this particular grid, we have the budget size, and that might be different for various markets, a smaller market, medium market, larger market. So whatever that price range of what you consider a small budget marketing advertising budget for a prospect, you can put in that dollar amount. So these are just suggestions. This is just an example. Over on the right-hand side, we can see that consumer buying cycle, that branding exposure. When somebody gets ideas in their head, they've been exposed to a brand or a product for the first time, then they might go into that research phase. They're kind of comparing, contrasting what they want to buy. And then finally, they're ready to buy. And over on the left-hand side, we notice the marketing goals, those main marketing goals, which I'm going to define in just a second. Branding, engagement, and direct marketing. And you also notice the CPM value, the value per impression, actually increases as we go from branding to direct marketing, because by the time we get to direct marketing, those are leads that we're capturing for our clients. Those are very qualified leads and a high probability that those customers are going to buy from that particular advertiser. Let's just go over a couple of those terms I wanted to define. I am defining brand marketing as using lots of ad impressions, whether traditional or online, to build exposure for our brand and its values. Some examples of that: all I have to do is show you that apple, and you know it's Apple. You know when you buy an Apple product, it means high design, high quality, forward thinking. It has very defined values. Disney. Every time you experience a Disney product, you feel happy, you feel like a kid again, you feel joy. Starbucks, it's kind of that place in between the office and home, that oasis to quiet down, enjoy a cup of coffee. So these are very distinct, recognizable brands, and they have been built through advertising. The next form of marketing in that digital capabilities matrix is engagement marketing. I define engagement marketing as using advertising to encourage consumers to interact with a brand or business. A couple of examples of that. Here's Ben & Jerry's. Very classic way of having a contest to help a particular advertiser choose a new product or a variation of their product. So Ben & Jerry's ran a huge contest to help them choose new local ice cream flavors. Another example of that, local television station in Watertown, New York, had an ugliest couch contest. Just getting people to submit their ugliest couch in hope of having the ugliest couch in that market, and they would win a new couch from the furniture retailer that was sponsoring this particular contest. Another way of engagement marketing, giving people all these different ideas, a whole slideshow of how they can keep your dog safe from the summer heat. So there's 14 different images here, all these different tips. So this is you could be sponsored by a veterinarian, a pet store. It's that the idea of the advertiser helping, educating the consumer about how they can take better care of their pet. And finally, direct marketing, using advertising to convert on sales or capture marketing information from consumers. Talked a lot about this. Here's Coca-Cola doing a text to win contest where you can win all these different prizes using your mobile phone. And here's another idea. You can do a whole Instagram promotion where people submit photos of their summer vacations, their fall trips, their winter trips, what have you, so they have the opportunity to win this adventure on this local train tour. So now this is an example of this digital capabilities matrix filled out. The idea here is to look at all those different awesome digital capabilities that you have available at your local media organization and match them with some of the key marketing goals of your prospects and clients, and based on the size of their budget. Now, this is going to be different for every local media organization because you all have different capabilities. And also, this might even be different for every local media rep because you have different strengths and weaknesses about what you want to sell and what you feel comfortable selling. So, for example, if we are talking to a client, this is how we would use this ultimately. If we were talking to a client and we're diagnosing that they have a medium-sized budget and they're really interested in direct marketing, we might then go look at that grid and say, okay, medium-sized budget, direct marketing. Okay, these are the 3 capabilities that I might recommend to them in combination with traditional advertising that I think they would work really, really well. Now, the idea here is to focus on those 3 opportunities rather than maybe the 30 plus opportunities that you have available to you. So this capabilities matrix is to help you accelerate that process, make recommendations more quickly based on the needs and budget size of your clients. And you can also download your own copy of this digital capabilities matrix. So that way you can make as many copies as you want, fill it out in a variety of different ways, the way that makes sense to you. So you can download that in the reference section of this certification. Finally, let's walk through an example of how we can build a multi-platform package from the ground up for a specific client. So the measure for success, we're going to talk to a local hospital and they want to educate consumers about joint reconstructive surgery. And they feel, and we've recommended to them, that the best way to do that is do a webinar, a video webinar, so they can actually see what this would look like. So the goal here is to capture email addresses and its branding at the same time. So just to reinforce that, this could be an image of what this video webinar might look like. And when people sign up for the webinar, we actually want them to submit an email address. So we're capturing that email address, but the consumer is going to be educated. They're getting content. And in return, we're getting an email address for our client so they can reach out to them. They can follow up with them after the webinar. And a lot of times with these different webinar platforms, you can capture all different types of information. It can get very detailed. You really want to find that balance. If you ask for too much, you're going to suppress the number of people who would sign up for an opportunity like this. And once again, that digital call to action, it's content, because even after the webinar is done, we can email an archived version or a copy of that webinar to anybody who participated or who registered but was unfortunately unable to make it. You might even be able to use this content as part of your archive beyond the webinar. You could even use it as a call to action hosted on your website so people can look at it at a later date. This is where we're going to use those display ads, still really important, but remember, we're referring to them as digital promotion, and this is how it could be used, where we're encouraging people, the messaging of the display ad is to go sign up for that web chat, that webinar, or to go look at extra video, extra educational resources. Of course, using that traditional promotion, this could be a television station, radio station, where we're going to let people know about this webinar. People also are incredibly responsive to deadlines. There's just something the way our brain is wired. As soon as we hear a deadline, we really pay attention to see if we really want to participate in that particular event or not. So think about that, especially in terms of webinars, in terms of events. Let me just give you an example. This was actually a television station, a large market that actually did do this particular multi-platform campaign of working with a hospital, designing a webinar call to action to get people to sign up, capture those email addresses, and using digital promotion and television promotion to get people to sign up. It was $70,000 for this entire integrated campaign. And you can see when you design this campaign in this way, it all works together. You needed those display ads to drive more webinar registrations. You needed the traditional television promotion. It all works together. So that way your client isn't going to nickel and dime you and say, well, I don't understand how these pre-roll impressions work. How is that going to be driving results? Because in this way, you've designed a marketing funnel. You've designed a sales funnel that is going to drive those specific results. And specifically, they priced it. Some of your clients are going to want to know the individual pricing for different aspects of this particular package. So the webinar was about $3,000. As we discussed, here's all the different ways: on-air promotions, run-of-site display ads. They even had a microsite video and chat to drive results for this particular opportunity. They had 43 webinar participants. So I just want to hold on a second. Remember, I said this is a large market television station. So a lot of local media reps would say, oh my gosh, the results seem terrible for that. But I remind them in every single category, the results mean something different. When you're talking about joint reconstructive surgery, that is a very huge decision to make in someone's life. And not everybody's going to be ready to even investigate that, or you might even not have that problem. So think of those 43 webinar participants as 43 solid leads for some, and they also, on average, hung out for almost a half an hour. Imagine that you're watching an infomercial willingly for half an hour. Not only that, you just didn't come across that surfing late night on television. You went and actively signed up for that to then go and watch it. They actually had 48 inquiries within 1 week of this webinar. Did you notice it's actually above the number of webinar participants? And this particular operation, it's about $7,000. So they had 7 patients within the first week. So it almost covered the cost of their advertising campaign in the first week. And for this television station, they had a very forward-thinking sponsor. So they knew that it was going to take time, but they understood that joint reconstructive surgery was a big decision to make. So there was a longer sales cycle. So they were beyond ecstatic with the results of this integrated campaign. Let's just review some of those actions we want to take in terms of building a multi-platform package. Remember, we want to start with the measure for success, that digital call to action for our client. We really want to identify that call to action. What are they looking for their measure for success? To boost their sales, celebrate a new location, new product line, what have you. But then let's narrow in on that digital call to action. Do they want to drive people to a webinar, watch some videos? Do they want to capture email addresses, social media followers, mobile numbers? Third, using the digital and traditional ads to promote that digital call to action. Remember, we're going to think of our display ads, our pre-roll, and our in-stream audio as digital promotion. All right, up next in our next module in multi-platform proposal development, we are going to show you how to write a one-page digital proposal.